The UK High Court has denied Julian Assange's push to appeal his extradition. A court spokesperson said the Wikileaks founder's case did not raise, quote, an arguable point of law, unquote. Assange faces up to 175 years in U.S. prison for his publication of classified documents relating to U.S. and UK military action in Afghanistan and Iraq.
The BBC reports that UK Home Secretary Priti Patel is expected to approve the extradition. At that point, Assange's lawyers could appeal a prior court decision, which, if successful, could keep him in the UK. So this is going to drag on a little bit longer. We're not quite towards the end, apparently, on this. You know, it's because that was the question I had for Ryan earlier was, so does this mean he's being extradited and there's going to be another appeal?
But they're likely.
It looks like he's going to be extradited eventually.
But right, it does seem like the writing is on the wall, and so the question is when rather than if at this point.
It's delay at this point.
Right, and delay. And there's a purpose now. They announced that on March 23rd he'll be getting married in Belmarsh Prison.
Wow, are they going to actually have a ceremony in the prison?
They're allowed 4 guests, 4 total guests at the prison. They're going to have a ceremony there March 23rd. So
your birthday.
That's my birthday. But you're right. It does look like he's going to fail in fighting the extradition request. The initial denial from the judge came on the grounds that the U.S. system could not promise that they wouldn't torture him, basically, by putting him in solitary confinement, and couldn't guarantee his safety. And so then after the ruling, the U.S. said, okay, well, we make a few assurances. We won't put him in solitary confinement unless we decide that we need to. And it was reported in the U.S. media that they promised not to put him in solitary. That was actually not true. They said they would not do it unless they decided they needed to do it.
And they always put people in solitary confinement,
of course,
because they decided they need to do it.
Right.
Well, there's no court that adjudicates whether that decision. I mean, ultimately, there is if you have some kind of like lawsuit, but in the moment, there's no other third person that goes like, oh yeah, this is in the person's best interest. You get to do that. No, they just do it if they think they should,
and
which is at the. It could be because you did something wrong, or it could be because somebody else did something wrong, and they say they
were
fear
nearby.
For you.
Right. And they also promised they wouldn't put him in this particularly draconian maximum security prison unless they decided that they needed to. So that was enough for the UK to say, okay, fine, good.
Well, and I wonder how long this can drag out. You know, how in death row cases, for example, people can appeal and then appeal and then appeal. And of course, you know, that is a bit different. Well, it's not really that different. A person's life is on the line. And I would think we could argue that maybe Julian Assange is in this case. But we know that they can appeal over and over and over again. So if he appeals again and loses that appeal, is it just, nope, you're on a plane and you're going? Or is there another step and another appeal? And he could be just in this process forever and ever.
It looks like he's getting close to the end, I think.
And there are some defenders who think that, and Assange clearly doesn't want to be extradited, but there are some of his defenders who think that the U.S. media has so completely failed to raise this as an issue of press freedom, partly perhaps because he's not here in the United States, that if he were in Federal District of Virginia in prison there, that at least there would be more attention to it, and it would then force the Biden Department of Justice to answer the question of why they are continuing to pursue this. That might be wishful thinking, and the answer that Biden might come up with is because screw you,
right?
We're going to lock him up.
Right.
But there's a chance that it raises pressure on.
Right.
Now, a pardon or a commutation is the easy, immediate way out of this.
Or just dropping the charges.
Right,
just saying, you know what, we're not prosecuting journalists for publishing classified information. We never have, and we never will.
They're not going to drop the charges because they do not want to establish that right. If you leak information, you will be prosecuted. Maybe. I don't know. Chelsea Manning got a commutation or a pardon.
It probably would be a commutation, is what they would probably do if they do it.
Yeah.
But that, so it might be in Julian's best interest actually to extradite now and face this trial under the Biden administration, where it would be a very bad look for the Biden administration to, I'm sure he'll be charged, well, he is charged, but I'm sure he'll be convicted.
Right,
and
you
then,
can't win these cases. It's impossible.
Right, and then be thrown in jail. And then it would be, for Biden, especially if he loses this upcoming election, which I think many of us think there's a big chance he's not going to be president again for a second term, that at the end, when he's doing all of his, all of the signing, all the papers and
That's
stuff,
true.
then he would say, okay, let's just go ahead and commute this sentence, because a Republican president is not as likely to do that.
Maybe Trump, though.
Trump.
Because of the weird,
if Trump had
how this all
yeah.
shook out, where
Right.
now Assange, because of his anti-Hillary Clinton stuff and the Russian, whatever, is perceived as being somehow part of the same Trump kind of. It's not unthinkable that, that Trump would.
But then you're risking it if you're Julian Assange.
Certainly. I wouldn't want to risk it on Trump, realizing that,
and not only that, but you'd have to risk that he even runs again. That's unclear, right?
Absolutely.
He might just be doing everything he's doing right now just for the fame and the attention, which we know he loves.
He might lose.
Right, he might lose. So you're really betting a lot. If I were Julian Assange and his team, I would say, I'd rather take my chances under a Biden administration. I'm going to be extradited to the United States. It's inevitable. I'm going to be convicted. It's inevitable. But
that
my
is
best
interesting.
chance at getting out of prison early is the Biden administration.
That is interesting, actually, because if they delay it, they would want to delay it as a general principle, obviously. But if they delay it past Biden being in office, that could ultimately be worse.
It depends, because Trump's, the reporting was that Trump was very close, and Trump has said publicly that he was very close to.
But he just loves the drama.
But it was January,
he loves the TV. I might do it. I could do it. Oh, who knows what I will do.
After January 6th, he went weak at the knees. One of the most cowardly things he's done is he felt like, ooh, I pushed this too far. I am now in serious jeopardy.
Yeah.
And Trump is absolutely not going to do anything for anybody else that puts him even a millimeter more at risk of anything. That's just not who Trump is. And so he was like, I don't care, you can rot. Now, Assange's big problem among liberals has always been this link, this Russiagate link. And they blame him for Hillary Clinton losing the election.
And that's a problem he has with the mainstream media. I brought this up several times, but the only reporting I could find about the most recent Assange developments going back a couple weeks ago, right? It was some MSNBC post being like, oh, well, if Assange is back in the U.S., we'll get to reopen the Mueller investigation. We'll find out more of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, he's kind of screwed either way, because you bring up a really good point. I mean, because liberals have latched on to this Russiagate.
And now there's a war.
Yeah. Right. And so
they were livid at Russia before Russia invaded Ukraine. So
Yeah.
Now I'm livid at Russia too.
Right.
I mean, so it's a losing situation for Julian Assange. What's really a crime in all of this is the media not speaking up against this.
There's probably classified information in today's New York Times and Washington Post. And if they think that the government is going to set a precedent with Julian Assange and just leave it there and never come after anybody else for that, they're fooling themselves and marching themselves into prison.
What do you think the hosts of The View think should happen to Assange? like torn apart by rabid dogs or something? If Tulsi should be investigated by the DOJ?
Yeah, they would be, of course, saying he's a traitor, even though he's not even American, but he's still a traitor, and he should.
We're traitors to them. I don't know what Assange, who did share classified, it's gone further down the definition of what counts as.
They think he lost that he was the reason for Hillary Clinton losing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so they definitely are. Yes.
And he has said that
drawn and quarter the guy is what they'll be advocating for.
And he wouldn't necessarily even let's say that it was Russia that hacked Podesta and gave Hillary's emails to Assange. Let's say that's true. There's no reason that Assange would even know that. You get an anonymous document dump, just like the Panama Papers, just like the Pandora Papers, just like all of these other leaks. You get the leak, you verify whether it's authentic, and then you publish it. That's what a journalist does.
Right.
But they're like, no, he collaborated with Russia to put Hillary Clinton into.
So then they say, lock him up, right? They turned it around.
Yeah, and he's locked up.
Well, we will continue to cover this case. Hopefully someone else in the media will do the same. Tomorrow on Rising, writer Maxim Lott will join us to explain his take on where the Russia-Ukraine war is headed.
And reporter Eli Yoakley will be here to break down public opinion on Joe Rogan, who we haven't mentioned in
Rogan.
All right, well, you know what to do. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so that you never miss a video. And if you are more into podcasts, we're now available wherever you listen to them. So be sure to check us out, because how cool are we? You can't not check us out when we look that cool, right?
At least download it, at least. Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. See you later.
See you next time.